Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo. It is January 18th, and we are here to chat AEW Dynamite that took place in Fresno, California today. And there's quite a bit to get into for today's show. We had a banger, and I mean banger of a match that I cannot wait to talk to. You guys, if you watch the show, you already know what it is. And we just kind of got some more cool stuff, a very shocking moment that's going to develop into some more storytelling. We got a heel turn tonight. I mean, there's kind of a lot to dive into for this episode of AEW. But before we get started, everyone, I want to welcome you all. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know that it hasn't been, an easy last, 24 hours. It's been, a very somber, not, it's been hard. It's definitely been hard. And even yesterday, I didn't really feel like doing the NXT post show. It just felt really strange. So thank you to everyone who understood all of that. But we are back here today, and we're just going to go ahead and, dive into the show and do that. But let's see what people are saying here. Also, if you want to get your question, your comment, your statement, your thoughts on AEW Dynamite here tonight, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat at any point throughout the show. That very much helps out support the show a whole lot. So let's go ahead and see what you guys thought of this show. We got a super chat here from Hunter Tillman. Hunter, it's been a while. What's up, man? Hunter Tillman says, hey, Denise, it's been a long time since I've actually gotten to send a super chat, but I've tuned into your shows as much as I possibly could. I thought tonight's episode is pretty solid. Love the tribute to Jay Briscoe. Yes, I completely agree with you. They're going to do a little bit more too, I believe, on Rampage, which was something that was announced here. And let me actually read this here. This is directly from the Observer in regards to the tribute for Jay Briscoe. So, Tony Khan actually made the announcement on Twitter. I didn't see it until right now. So he basically just said, thanks you to everyone watching AEW Dynamite tonight. We're just getting started. We have a great live show for you all. Plus, after the live show, we'll film a special ROH tribute to the late, great Jay Briscoe, which will be available soon, free to everyone on Honor Club is actually what he said here. So they're going to tape a special Jay Briscoe tribute following AEW Dynamite. So they're going to be doing that immediately after tonight's show. And then let me see here. FYI, because, this was something to note here, because based on this, I thought that it was going to be behind the paywall. It's not going to be behind a paywall. It is also going to be shown on Ring of Honor's YouTube page. So in order to watch the show, if you don't have Honor Club, you can watch on the YouTube channel for Ring of Honor. So that'll be something very nice to go ahead and, get to watch and whatnot. So I can't wait to see that tribute show. That should be very, very nice. But Hunter Tillman, thank you so much for tuning in, for coming back, and for also sending in a very generous super chat as well. I appreciate it, man. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it here today. So what did you guys think of AEW today? I honestly thought that today's show, it was interesting because it felt a little simple, but yet it had some really good moments in here. So like some of the stuff that was all right, but the stuff that was great was really great. I kind of felt like there was no in between. It was either or. Like this was really good and this was kind of just there. There was nothing bad on the show whatsoever today, and it flew by super, super fast. So I enjoyed today's episode of Dynamite, especially because I really thought, I know it's so early in the year, but I really thought that Bandido and Bryan Danielson literally gave me one of my favorite AEW Dynamite matches in a very, very long time. I can't wait to talk about that. But I did get a super chat here from Grapple Geekery. Thank you so much to Grapple Geekery, who says FTR versus Briscoes 1 was my match of 2022. Rip J. And here's the thing, like there's so many, so many matches that we can go ahead and talk about. And I'm excited for the tribute show because I'm assuming they're going to be playing highlights and, memories and stuff like that. So I am excited to see a lot of that. One of the things that I put out yesterday was, and obviously here, we have to speak about, the Briscoes both together because, as a tag team. So I've gotten to see them perform live in multiple different promotions throughout like the last couple of years, whether it was freaking going all the way back to PWG, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling. I think, obviously Ring of Honor, but the last one that I think I saw them at was saw Jay at was for Game Changer Wrestling in Los Angeles not too long ago. And so it is one of those things that you just think last night on Twitter and even today and throughout the day, you have been seeing so many very, very nice tributes, whether it's stories, pictures, memories, favorite matches, you name it. Absolutely anybody who's anybody in the wrestling world, fans, people in the business, everybody had something wonderful to say. And that to me screams louder than anything when so many people from all different parts from all different avenues, all different parts of wherever they come from, whatever they're working at, no matter what they do, what position they hold, what their situation is, they were all coming together to basically put out good words. And that kind of just goes to show, who a person is when you have so many people coming together to just say these really wonderful things about you. And, everybody's been saying the same thing. Clearly, prayers to his daughters, as his wife did update us on their status, and that's clearly something that we're not going to get an update on overnight. So it's been very stuff like this is always really hard, and it's tough to talk about, guys. It's really, really tough to talk about because last night, like I said, it was just such a somber mood where I know everybody, like, no matter what you are doing, it's one of those things where it's just constantly, in the back of your mind. And, you've been thinking about it all day. I know that's kind of where I was, where I would do something, get distracted a little bit, and then like go back, like it was just always there in the back of my mind. And it just, it just sucks, man. Like it sucks. Like I don't want to get, all, dark here or depress anybody, but it is those things where, when you see stuff like this happen, it's heartbreaking. And it also kind of just reminds you that we're here only for whatever time that we're here for. And, okay, I'm not going to continue on because then afterwards I'm just going to get really, really sad on here. But just, man, I don't know what to say. Everything that everybody's been already saying on Twitter, on social media. Love the people that you love while they're here and while you're here. And I'm going to press on because now my throat's starting to get a little scratchy and I don't want to do that. So get a little hot in here. So let's just press on to AEW and let's see what we got here. Reggie Simmons says, I love wrestling. Have an awesome show. Rest in honor, Jay. That's all. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I want to talk about too once we get into everything in more detail. But it was one of those things where, we kicked off the night with, Jay Lethal, somebody who's also has his own history in Ring of Honor. And even the second match after that, it was like, we got this tag team match. And I don't know, I was just like kind of reading in between things. So I'm like, oh, we got like Ring of Honor stuff. We got some tag team stuff. I don't know. I'm just reading a little bit too much into it, but still. Nick Grasso sends in a super chat saying, first, just want to say Rip Jay Briscoe, thoughts and prayers with his family and friends. So it looks like Saraya and Toni turned heel. If so, does Athena join them? Maybe Ruby too. And I guess Britt and Jamie faces now. So here's the thing. And I know we're going to talk about this later, but I might as well just talk about it now. So I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. So let me pull up my notes really quickly. Okay. So Willow Nightingale versus Toni Storm was a match that we got here tonight. And this was pretty good. Like, I like this little back and forth. I thought the ending came abruptly, but it played into everything that we got afterwards. So Willow was like freaking fired up during this match. You got Toni Storm in there with a cannonball. But then Saraya gets up on the apron and she starts, yelling and shouting and whatever she's doing. And so Willow is distracted by this. And this causes her to this causes Toni Storm to roll her up, get the quick victory. And Willow's like, what the, like, this just happened so suddenly, right? And so after this, like, we kind of already had these teases that, it was kind of hard to see Saraya as a baby face. And I know a lot of people kind of got there a lot earlier when she was doing the stuff with Britt Baker. When Saraya and Britt Baker were, having their back and forth, the AEW crowd was on Britt Baker's side for the most part. Like, they were rooting for Britt. They were on Britt's side, even though Britt was technically the heel and Saraya was the baby face. So it's kind of been, a while where people have sort of been Saraya as a babyface hasn't necessarily felt like the natural pathway. But in regards to that, I remember, and I was just talking about this too on last week's show for AEW Dynamite. We were just talking about this where I was saying how, like, in that match that we got with Toni Storm and Saraya and Jamie and Britt Baker, we were just talking about how Jamie and Britt are the heels, yet we're all kind of cheering for Britt and Jamie versus Toni and Saraya, who were supposed to be the babyface, but we weren't necessarily, like, people were rooting for them, but not so much in the way that they it was odd. It was odd because they weren't, like, they didn't feel like the baby faces in this. They didn't really feel like the people you wanted to cheer for like a baby face. So it has the dynamic with Saraya and even Toni Storm with, due to association, has kind of just felt very, very off. It doesn't really feel like what we're supposed to get here. So I'm actually really glad that this happened, because after Saraya essentially cost Willow Nightingale her match, after this, she ran in and she attacked Willow Nightingale. So she jumps her and she starts going to town on her, but then Ruby Soho runs out, and Ruby Soho, she basically helps her out. So I'm wondering where they're going with this. I know there's people with a lot of different theories, and the women have been a major topic in the last couple of days. And it's I don't know where you guys land on this argument. And quite frankly, I don't care if you get offended by this, but I'm so sick and tired of this double standard that we are seeing for women in wrestling. Okay. I am freaking fed up with it. And I've talked about this on After the Week. We just talked about it, Will and I, on this show. But even just today, reading some of the quotes that I saw, seeing some of the tweets that I saw, and just seeing the double standard that there is for women out there, damn right, like, it pisses me off. Like, at first, this was a thing where I'm like, oh, this is a hot topic, let's talk about it, I can definitely connect to it. And now I'm just to the point where I'm a little bit angry. Honestly, I'm angry that that every single woman that puts her body on the line to go out there and wrestle these matches and do whatever it is that they can to keep leveling up. I'm so sick and tired of all the double standards that we are seeing when it comes down to this. So it's one of those things that is upsetting to see. And I just think, like, whatever it is that the women want to do in their matches, let them do it. If they want to do it, let them do it. And if you're going to have that energy for the women, you got to have it for the men too. So sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I'm really at this point right now where I'm just a little bit, like, kind of fed up with that. Oh, God. All right. Thank you, Nick, for sending in this super chat. And I'm so sorry that I kind of went off there, but man, guys, it's been bubbling. It's been bubbling. It's like bubbling up inside me. When you're just like, I really want to say this, but I don't know how to say this, and I don't know how to get the words out. But it is what it is. All right. Grapple Geekery says, damn divas. Heidi Ho sends in a super chat saying, I really thought Ruby should have attacked Willow if they're going to do the WWE versus AEW storyline. Um, to me, like that's obviously like an easy direction to go into, but I don't know if I want to lean into that so much personally. For me, I don't know if that's the way that I want to see it. I know the fans are going to maybe read in between the lines in that manner, but I don't really think they should go about it this specific direction. That's kind of where I'm at with this. But thank you so much to Heidi Ho for also sending in this super chat as well. And we got a couple more here, so let me put these out. Sheldon Jackson says, Denise spitting fire and then drop the mic. Damn. You know, the other day when I was talking about this with Will on After the Week, my husband, he heard the podcast and he told me, he was like, you know what, Denise, I really think that you could have said a lot more. And I looked at him and I'm like, what? You really thought I could have said a lot more? And he said, yes, you as somebody who deals with, sexism every single day, you are somebody that can talk about this more. And so ever since then, it's been like in my head since Sunday. I've been thinking about this just over and over. And then I log into Twitter and I see the comments that are being put out there for the women. And it's just like, oh, it's frustrating, but damn. Okay. Juan Ortega says Denise went off script, and I really could go about this more, but I don't want to make it about me right now, and I don't want to make it about this. But it is because it has been a hot topic in wrestling, and it is something that I'm seeing on my feed. I felt like I at least had to make some sort of a mention about it. And I probably will talk about this more in the future because there's always going to be, these backwards views. They're always going to be there. So Sam Fines, thank you so much for the lovely super chat. And thank you so much for helping me out yesterday as well. Thank you, Sam. All right. So Ed Jones says, was that a siren? Bro, you heard that too? I heard that too. I heard a siren and I turned to the right and I was like, what is happening? But I just thought that nobody else on this podcast heard it, so I didn't acknowledge it. But now there's people on here saying they heard it as well. I don't know what's happening. Maybe something's going on outside. I have no idea. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on from here. And let's go ahead and dive into, let's rewind because I kind of jumped ship and I started talking about the women's stuff, but I want to rewind here and go back and talk about the opening match of the night. So the opening match of the night saw Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy in the AEW All-Atlantic Championship match. Cassidy defending his title against Jay Lethal. So here's the thing, like this match was pretty good, but it ended up being completely overshadowed. I didn't think it was like, it was fine. You know what I liked about this one in particular was that there was a nice little mix there of action. We got to see Jay Lethal do quite a bit in here, but there was a lot of comedy that was, sort of added to this. So this match to me kind of felt like the comedy did sort of outweigh the in-ring action in terms of we did get to see more of the comedy. The comedy was a lot heavier in this match because there was so much that happened here. So first of all, they did say that if Satnam Singh or Sanjay Dutt or Jeff Jarrett, if they got involved in this match whatsoever or any sort of capacity, that Sanjay Dutt would essentially lose his job. So that was the whole bit. So throughout this, like we get some good moments between Cassidy and Jay Lethal, but on the outside, all the guys are out there. Best Friends are out there, Dutt's out there, Singh's out there, Jeff's out there. They're all out there, so they're a little bit of a distraction here. There's a moment where the referee is distracted and Jeff Jarrett tries to pass off the guitar. He tries to pass the guitar so that Jay Lethal can use it behind the referee's back, but instead Danhausen, I forgot to mention Danhausen's there. Danhausen comes out and he ends up grabbing the guitar and like running with it and like running around the ring, which was pretty funny. And even before this, they had a really hilarious bit where So because they were all out there on ringside, Danhausen was dressed as an usher, and he goes in and he's like asking them for their tickets. But the funny part wasn't necessarily that. To me, the funny part was that Sanjay Dutt actually gave him the tickets. Like if he's a real usher and he really has to answer the questions of Danhausen. So this was really freaking hilarious. But there were some good moments, some other good moments that I want to talk about here. Let me see. Here we go. There was all these distractions. This basically allowed Orange Cassidy to get a dive to the outside on Jay Lethal. That was really cool. There was another spot that they did where every time Jay Lethal went to the top rope, Orange Cassidy would roll around and move to the other side. So Jay Lethal had to keep going up and down, up and down. So that was pretty funny too. Cassidy, Orange Cassidy hits a DDT, goes for a pin, gets a near fall. We see Jay Lethal hit the lethal combination, and then he also hits the lethal injection. Orange Cassidy literally rose out of the ring right immediately after that. But the one part that I do want to talk about here too is that we do see Orange Cassidy obviously get the win afterwards, but the events that unfolded afterwards were really hilarious because Satnam goes in there and he tries to choke slam best friends, but Sanjay Dutt's like, no, don't do it. If you do this, I'm gonna lose my job. So then Jeff Jarrett, he tries to get I think it was Orange Cassidy with the guitar, and Sanjay Dutt goes right back in there and he's like, no, don't do it. I'm going to lose my job. But then Orange Cassidy starts doing his little bit where, he's like supposedly hitting them and kicking them and all of these things, right? And Sanjay Dutt starts to lose his shit. He takes off his coat. He's like snapping. They have to hold him back. And I found this so funny because out of all the things, that is what triggered him. That is the thing that Sanjay Dutt was triggered by, was Orange Cassidy doing his little bit on him. So I really enjoyed the comedy aspect of this for this match, and I thought it was a good way to kind of get the show going on a nice, in a nice mood, get people laughing and interested in all of that. So they're going to continue all of this, everything that they've been doing with this whole story. All right, so let's press on from here because this next topic, guys, this is one that I was shocked. I'm not going to lie. I was definitely shocked during this. So you guys know the match that I'm talking about, Top Flight versus the Young Bucks, 2/3 of the AEW Trios champs. And there's a lot to kind of dive into here. So first and foremost, as we know, the Young Bucks just won the Trios champs at the LA show, and that was a banger of a match. But they're coming out of this best of 7 series, and one of the things that commentary was putting over was not only did they go through hell and back with the Death Triangle, but also they hadn't wrestled a tag team match, I believe they said, since July of last year together. So, they've been doing more trio stuff and all of that. So that was something that they mentioned at the top of this match. And I remember thinking when commentary mentioned this, I'm like, oh my God, are they trying to set us up here where Top Flight is going to win this match? And then I thought, nah, they're probably just saying that to throw us off. Continue on with the day, right? So that was the first sign right there that we were going to see an unexpected win here. So anyways, we press on. Now, on the Top Flight side, they're coming out of winning that the $300,000 off of that Three Kings Battle Royale, whatever the hell they were calling that thing. They're coming off of that. And then coming off of a really good match that they had with Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, where they literally went toe to toe, head to head, whatever, with the BCC. And that was something that we talked about when that happened, because it was one of those things where I remember thinking like, oh, I can't really buy it seeing Top Flight go head to head against Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson in this capacity. But by the end of it, I was sold. Like, I became a much bigger fan of Top Flight following that match. And that was one of the things that I thought that AEW was doing really well, was really building them up. But even then, I still didn't actually think they were going to defeat the Young Bucks here. So let's talk about this match and some of the items that actually occurred during this. There was a whole lot, so I'm not even going to recap everything here. But we did get from the moment that this started with Dante and Nick Jackson, it was a really good match, a little good sequence that they did there where you can tell that they were evenly matched up. So they kind of established that right away. We got some really fun sequences like we always do, especially with the Young Bucks. There is a lot that they kind of did here. There was a moment where, and I think this was the moment where the crowd really kind of set off. And this was when the Young Bucks were going in for the Meltzer driver, but instead Top Flight essentially avoided it and instead hit their power bomb nosedive combo. And the second they did that, the crowd erupted. Like, this is where I think they had the crowd at the palm of their hands. But we just kind of went back and forth. We saw a destroyer from Nick, goes for a cover on Darius, but Darius kicks out. We see the Young Bucks super kick Dante as he's literally leaping off of the top rope. And then finally, for the actual finish, we see the Young Bucks go for the BTE trigger, but instead Darius ends up ducking, and so they bang knees themselves. And this essentially allows for a roll-up and for a roll-up on Matt and for Darius to get the quick win and surprise us all. So in this moment, when they actually won here, and with that very, very sudden surprise moment that they got here, I personally thought, my first reaction was, holy shit, they really went this direction. My first reaction, and it was funny too, because they panned to the crowd and the crowd shots. Go back and rewatch the crowd shots, because there's literally like a guy standing there and he's just like, frozen solid, and he's like, what the hell just happened? And so my reaction to this was, wow, they really had Top Flight defeat the Young Bucks after the Young Bucks literally just became trios champions, right? And so I'm thinking, like, what is happening here? But to me and to a lot of people, this is very clear of the indication of where we're going to next. Because as I mentioned, the Top Flight and AR Fox, all three, ended up winning those 300K in that Kings, I always forget what they call it, the Three Kings thing. So they won that all together. And AR Fox has been pretty damn impressive on AEW so far. Everything that he's done, and even just his recent match that he had with Swerve Strickland, that was really good too. But basically, it seems to me, and it's very obvious, that they had to get this win in order to, one, continue really getting a win over the Young Bucks is a big deal, okay? Getting a win over them is a big deal. It kind of sets up Top Flight to feel like even bigger on the roster. And then on top of that, it also kind of sets up this next continuing feud for the Elite. So it's looking like we're going to lead to the Elite with Top Flight and AR Fox. That seems like the direction that they should go into, especially coming off of that long war that the Elite had with the Death Triangle. So this was fun, guys. This was fun. It was unexpected. I was shocked in the beginning and I didn't know what to think. I was sort of split. I was like 50-50. I didn't know what to think, to be honest. But it is one of those things, though, that and I've talked about this so many times on so many different podcasts, and I'm always talking about the element of surprise, man. The element of surprise to me is the golden ticket. I love that stuff. Whenever I feel like I couldn't predict this and things went down that I didn't end up seeing were going to happen, to me, that's very exciting, and it keeps the show feeling pretty fresh. So that's where I'm at with Top Flight and the Young Bucks. And let me just say this, I think Top Flight might have the best 2023. They're definitely up there in terms of young talent or just talent in general that is going to have a pretty solid 2023. If what we've been seeing in the last month even is any indication, then we know they're going to have a pretty good year coming up. Justin Martin sends in a super chat saying, the way the Young Bucks did the tribute, then the Doomsday device was a beautiful moment. Hashtag rip Jay Briscoe. Yes. And that is one of the things that, is nice to see as well. And and also I should mention too, that throughout the night, Talent was also wearing, and this started as early as the first match, Talent was also wearing the armbands as well. So that was really nice too. All right. So Sorry, I was seeing some funny comments here on the chat. And let's see what people are saying. This is from AFC and TP, who says, pleased for Top Flight, always put on a great matches, but felt like injuries got in the way whenever it felt like they were about to take a big step forward. Yes, that's true. And it finally feels like all the weight and all of the patience that they had throughout all of these, all the times that Darius was out, it finally feels like they're I don't know, like it's all worth it. It's finally paying off, right? They're finally getting to actually be the team that they want to be. And they keep getting put in these big moment scenarios. And I don't know how many of you guys here are Coach 30 fans. He does those little TikTok videos about NFL plays and botches and stuff like that. And he has a really funny line where he goes, moment too big, piss down your leg. Oh my God. I love those videos. I watch them all the time. So that never happens to Top Flight. The moment's big and they do not piss down their leg. Thank you to AFC and TP. Alrighty, and let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying. Let's see. Oh, man, I'm sweating, guys. And let's get into this next portion of the show. And let's see. After this, we had the Guns and the Acclaimed. So this was pretty fun. And they had a fun segment on Rampage as well, where they got their butts in the cement and all of that. So we're coming off of that. So they're out there and they're talking about how they demand respect and they're the best tag team in the world. And they're pissed off that the Acclaim embarrassed them. And they literally... the Guns are growing on me. It took me a while. I was not like the biggest fan of the Guns. To be honest, I really wasn't. Like, I didn't really feel it. But lately, with all of the comedy that they've been doing, I've been liking them a little bit more now. Like, they've definitely grown on me a whole lot. So they come out there and they're like, we made the Acclaimed popular. We are the reasons that they are champions. We even gave them our dad. When they said we even gave them our dad, oh man, that was good stuff. I love this. Afterwards, the Acclaimed comes out. They try to do their rap, but the Guns are like, no, they stop it. But Max Caster basically asked them to mute the mics. So their mics get muted. And Max Caster does his rap. He has a really good line where he goes, we got the atmosphere. You only got the job because your dad works here. I thought that was pretty funny as well. And then afterwards, he even throws a shot at Hunter Biden. That was another thing that was in there, and some pretty funny lines there. So it was fun. It was fun. After this, they brawl out, and then Billy Gunn basically announces that they are going to be doing family therapy. So that tells me to expect some really funny skits out of this. That's really what I want to see. Honestly, that's the reason I'm interested in this whole beef between the Gun Club and the Acclaimed, and the Acclaimed stealing their father. Is I'm looking forward to all the comedy that they can do with this. And given how over it's all gotten, it's kind of cool to see. It really is cool to see that. Also, one more thing. Max Caster called them. He said, they aren't the Bulldogs. They're the bullshitters. That was funny. All right. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Mike T90K, thank you so much for sending in this super chat. He says, I have the same shirt. Awesome Dynamite. Scissor me, Denise. Thoughts on Nick Khan not being afraid of anything except rattlesnakes? Okay. So now for a second you threw me off there, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Also, are you talking about this shirt? You got this shirt? The one that I'm wearing? This is a dress. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh like that. All right. Mike T90, I agree with you. Awesome Dynamite. There you go. Scissored. And thoughts on Nick Khan not being afraid of anything except rattlesnakes. So for those of you guys who do not know what Mike is talking about here, Nick Khan did an interview earlier today with Bill Simmons, and I covered that all on the latest. So if you guys don't want to listen to the entire podcast, we basically broke down those pieces, and you can watch them in a very quick 8-minute video. So he was asked about Tony Khan and AEW and whether or not he essentially feared AEW and Tony Khan. And Nick Khan basically said, no, he doesn't fear anybody or anything. And that's not how he does business. That was pretty much the gist of it. But he fears nothing. Thank you so much to Mike T90K for sending in this super chat. Ed Jones says rattlesnakes don't make good corporate pets. Oh, man. Man. All right. Sam Fine says Denise's real laugh always makes me laugh. Oh, no. Do I got a fake laugh? Has my fake laugh came out? Oh, God. No, I feel like my real laugh just sounds like a man gasping for air. Like, that's all it is. That's my real laugh. It's, you heard it. It's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. It's just a man. I sound like a man trying to breathe or something. But that's the real laugh. So if you ever really hear like a cute giggle, that ain't my laugh, bro. That's fake. All right, but moving on from here. So that was fun. So prediction time, because I'm curious to see what vibe you guys got with the Renee Paquette, Adam, Hangman Page backstage segment that they did here, because I kind of got this vibe that I don't really know how to word my vibe, but I feel that maybe Hangman Page might just want to kind of rekindle things with Jon Moxley. And I'm not really sure what I mean by rekindle things, but something tells me that maybe he doesn't want to stay enemies, you know? Am I the only person getting this vibe? I don't know, because so they're talking about, they're having like a pretty laid back, very relaxed setting interview. Like they're not in this, they're not in front of their big little stage setup. Renee doesn't even have a microphone. So it's supposed to be a really relaxed thing. And he's basically talking about how he needs to have some hard conversations. And, he kind of teases like he's going to ask Renee for a favor in terms of maybe sending back a message to Jon, because he even asked Renee, like, how's Jon doing? And he kind of teases like he wants to tell her something to tell to him, but he kind of backs out. So I don't know what the vibe was there. What do you guys think? Like, am I reading this? Am I reading this wrong? Am I reading this correctly? What do we got here? We got people saying this was an awkward vibe. We got D. Laura saying he wanted to ask about CM Punk. We got Michael Graff says, I think Hangman wants to be besties. Dylan says, I assumed he meant the Elite. Let's see what else we got here. And Ed Jones says Renee gave him the fake laugh. All right. I don't know, guys. I really don't know what is, what it is that he really wanted to actually say here. So it's interesting. Okay, here we go. This is a good one. This is from Matt Hensley. I like this outlook. Matt Hensley says, Mox knocked out Hangman and made him forget the name of his child. As mad as Hangman is at Mox, he doesn't want him to forget his kid too. I love this. Mac, that's it. I quit. You're taking over the show, man. This is a really good insight here. I like this. I'm sticking with this. I'm going to steal your idea. I'm going to steal your idea here. I really like that. I'm going with that. Chris says, now I realize you've been fake laughing me. Oh, no, I have not. I definitely have not. Oh, man, I'm going to be very self-conscious about my laugh. But I don't know if that happens to you. For those of you watching the show, but do you ever feel like your laugh this is really stupid. Do you ever feel like your laugh changes? And sometimes you laugh really ugly. Sometimes it's not that great. And sometimes it's like a decent, I can't figure it out. You know what? I don't even want to get into this conversation because I'm going to go off topic again. But this happens too, right? This happens to people, right? Like we all got like different laughs. All right. Thank you to Chris. One of the things that I will say, and this is something that I've been trying to control. I don't know if I've been trying to control it, but I've been, so when I first started doing wrestling podcasting, I was always like, and this is going to sound wrong, but very, very professional. And I always spoke in a very professional setting. And I'm not saying that I'm not professional, but I've noticed that as I've done more and more podcasts, especially the ones that I do by myself, I noticed that my how do I say this? Like my house personality comes out, like not my work personality, but my house personality, like the person that I am here at home. And for some reason, I feel like I have to be like who I am, but at the same time, it's kind of embarrassing because some of the verbiage that I use, like some of the things the way that I speak at home, it's kind of embarrassing because I'd be like, bruh, bro. And then I always include, I speak a lot of Spanglish at home. So I'm always saying like se pasa and just like really dumb jokes. And honestly, I've noticed that it's starting to come out a lot more on these shows. And so that's something that I've been very cognizant of where I'm like, okay, calm down, calm down. But Chris, thank you so much for the super chat. Now I'm just overthinking. Chris sends in oh wait, that's the one I just read. My bad. Heidi Ho sends in a super chat saying, Hangman used to be cool before he went emo. Can somebody get this guy a whiskey on the rocks? Wait, you don't think Hangman's cool anymore? Hangman hasn't lost an ounce of coolness. Dude, what? I mean, I still think Hangman's cool. I mean, maybe he's not out there going like, I don't know. I think he's still cool. And he just had a banger of a match. That makes him cool. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho, though. I appreciate it. We got everybody throwing in their laugh. This is from Morbid, who says, I have a fake work laugh for customer. I worked retail for 7 to 8 years. 7, 8 years, maybe more. I know what that's like. I know exactly what it's like to have a fake laugh for customers. And you says I have a butthead laugh. I've tried to catch myself. Oh, I like that. The butthead laugh. Okay. And I know you're talking about Beavis and Butthead. I know there's going to be people that think that I don't know Beavis and Butthead. So I want to make sure you know that I know Beavis and Butthead. Just making sure. All right. Let's see what else we got. And all right, I think for the most part, we're pretty cool. We're good. Okay, this is from Heidi Ho and a follow-up to his super chat. He says he used to be a badass. He's too emotional now. I don't think so. I see. I kind of get what you mean by that. Yeah, I kind of get what you mean, but to me, it hasn't necessarily. I don't see Hangman Page any less of a badass. I really, truly don't. I don't see him as any less of a badass. And I feel like the emotion part, I feel like there was always shades of that there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there were shades of that kind of a little bit. They were kind of always there. There you go. All right. And let's go ahead and press on from here and see what people are saying. Let's get into Jake Hager versus Ricky Starks. So this one was probably my least favorite match of the night. I didn't think this one was too great. This one was really just, it was just there. This was not the Jericho Appreciation Society stuff on last week's show was the thing that, you know, a lot of people didn't really like. They didn't like the material. My whole gripe with it was that I thought it took too much. I thought it was unnecessary, and I would have liked those extra few minutes to really go to the main event. As for this here, they did have some fun moments. You know, Hager was mocking Ricky Starks. He was doing the Starks pose and this and that. There was a really cool moment where Hager throws Ricky Starks and he's trying to like throw him into the ring post, but instead Ricky Starks kind of goes and slides through. But then once he slides through, turns around, he ends up finding himself with a big boot from Jake Hager. To be honest, that was probably like my favorite portion of this match. But we do end up seeing Starks get the win here. And then afterwards, he quickly runs away because he's outnumbered by the Jericho Appreciation Society. And this all leads to us getting a Chris Jericho basically says that he's officially requested a tag team match between himself and Action Andretti against, himself and Sammy Guevara against Action Andretti and Starks. So they also, Daniel Garcia, I think they officially said, I think Daniel Garcia may be taking over this match. If he gets his win on Rampage, he might be the one in this tag team match. So that was a little bit not totally clear to me, but that's where we're at with this whole situation with the Jericho Appreciation Society. And I hope that it gets better, to be honest, because again, Jake Hager versus Ricky Starks didn't really feel like an entertaining match. And especially on a night like this, There were just so many other matches that were better. Like Orange Cassidy, Jay Lethal was better. I'm going to talk about the match that was the best of the match later on. The main event was really great. There was just a lot more that just stood out. Like this, completely forgettable. We got Vance Rawlings who says that Jazz is becoming annoying rather than entertaining. And we got Doppelganger who says, the hat saves the Jericho appreciation stuff for me. The hat is the best member of the group. I'm going to be real with everybody. I still hate the hat. I'm sorry. Like, I know I'm supposed to laugh. Sorry, I just turned heel on everybody here. But I know that I'm supposed to find the hat stuff funny. And every now and then, it'll get a chuckle out of me. But is it like real freaking comedy? No, it's so silly. And it makes me sad that that's like the thing that we're all supposed to laugh at. After the first, second, third time, the hat is not like, it's not funny. It's just not funny. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry to everybody. Had my heel turn here, but I just don't care for the hat. I ha-ha'd once. I ha-ha'd twice. I don't want to ha-ha no more about this hat. I'm over it. Our Rig says, I hate that hat. That is why I love the hat. Oh, man. Chris says that hat had a good run, but it's buried with a final fake laugh. Over the hat, guys. Base Martian says, but Denise, he likes that hat. I get it, guys. He likes the hat. Justin Martin says Jericho still does a great job of mixing in just the right amount of comedy. The backstage promo was hilarious. Dude, Jericho's phenomenal, but Jericho is pretty much doing the majority of everything for the Jericho Appreciation Society. Like, the Jericho Appreciation Society could literally be just Chris Jericho by himself, appreciating him, so his own self. Literally. That's where I'm at here. Alexis P says, hat envy. That's all I'm going to say, guys. I'm just jealous of the hat. That's all it is. All right. But no, for reals, I'm sick and tired of that hat. And if that's the point, if I'm supposed to be worked by a hat, no. It's just, I don't even want to say that. There should just be more than just the hat, is what I'm saying. There needs to be more to the Jericho Appreciation Society than just the purple dang hat. Oh my God. All right. I feel like no one understands me. I feel like I'm not connecting people here in regards to my hatred for this whole thing. I'm so happy though that Ricky Starks is getting this big moment with Jericho. I just kind of want to see it spiced up because, for example, like everything that Jericho and MJF did, oh my God, they thought outside the box. They did some really cool stuff. I kind of want to see something like that with Ricky Starks, where we're seeing all of these different things and, just unexpected stuff with creative, more than a hat. That's where I'm at. Hank G says she's had enough. Holy shit. Hank G, do you work in advertising? Because if you don't, you might want to consider it. You might want to consider a career in advertising or marketing. All right, let's press on from here, guys. And this is true, though. This is true. Labor Days is right. In the beginning, I didn't get the scissoring stuff. I hated it too. But this is the thing, though. I ended up changing my mind about the scissoring stuff a lot faster, and I have not changed my mind about the hat just yet. Give me a while. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here, and let's get into really quickly. We did get a vignette from Adam Cole where they're recapping his return to AEW that occurred at the LA show, and then also he just basically says that he's going to run over anybody who gets in his way, and that was pretty much that. And also, Tony Khan did a recent interview that came out today where he's actually said that us, the fans, that the audience, we don't know the half of what Adam Cole actually went through. And so he kind of said like, oh, I can't wait to see what the fans, I can't wait for the fans to see and hear everything that Adam Cole actually went through. So I am curious in terms of what he kind of meant by that. Like, what does he mean by that? Is, what else, how else are we going to learn exactly what Adam Cole went through? So that was a little bit interesting, but either way, that's where we're at with that. But now, finally, the moment of the night that I've been wanting to talk about, the reason this podcast is going to be like, this was the reason I wanted to hop on this podcast today, was to talk about Bryan Danielson versus Bandido, because this was awesome. Holy shit, this was awesome. Now, I have a whole ass paragraph about things that I loved in this match. I'm not going to go through every single bullet point because you guys would be here all night. But let's just kind of, I want to start off by saying that one of the things that I was a little bit bummed about was that we haven't really been seeing much of Bandido, okay? We saw that match with him and Chris Jericho, which was the match that ended up getting him signed to AEW. After that, he had his match with Rush on Rampage, and then he also had his match on Dynamite with Ethan Page, and then I think he did some stuff on Dark. I don't watch Dark. And we hadn't seen anything else with Bandido on Dynamite or Rampage. So finally, they made this announcement of he's going to be one of the competitors against Bryan Danielson. As you know, Bryan Danielson has to get all of his wins in order to win all his matches in order to get that match with MJF at Revolution. Okay, so with all of that being said, man, I'm so happy that they gave this match all the time that they gave it. I don't know how much time they even gave it, but it felt like it was enough for me. I mean, I would have taken at least if they would have been like, hey, let's go a full 60 minutes here, I would have been so over the moon with that. While they did give it a lot of time, I still would have even enjoyed even more time with this match here, because they had a unique match where they did a little bit of everything. And this was one of those matches that I had a moment where I was watching it and I was going, damn, I really am watching Bryan Danielson versus Bandido right now. And it isn't being cut short. It isn't ending abruptly. We're actually letting it go as much as, TV time permits. This was exciting for me. Watching this was so freaking cool. And this was legitimately one of my favorite Dynamite matches in a very, very long time. I think that this one's definitely up there with some of my favorites, but let's talk about this. So first of all, the Fresno crowd was going absolutely nuts for Bandido. I love the respect that they were showing him right off the bat. They were just, chanting his name. There was one point where when Bryan Danielson was getting him with the yes kicks, everybody started chanting C instead of yes. So it became the C kicks instead of the yes kicks. That was pretty funny. And then there was also a Si se puede chant. I mean, they were making sure to light that place up, and people were behind Bandido. And this is like, he's in the ring with Bryan Danielson, who is freaking hella popular, but people were losing their shit for Bandido, which was really awesome to kind of see that. We saw a little bit of some jabs between Danielson and Bandido with the pistol thing. That was pretty cool. But what we did see early on in this match was some really unique submissions. That was really fun to see. Like, there was a moment where Bryan had Bandido's arms literally trapped with his legs, and then Bandido literally lifts him up somehow. And as he's doing that, Bryan just starts headbutting him, and it looked freaking cool. That was really awesome. We got two topes from Bandido at one point. And also, they went to picture in picture, and usually picture in picture is my moment to like go and do something else, get a drink of water or whatever it is. I did not leave. I made sure to watch every single moment in this picture in picture. During this picture in picture, he gets him with Bandido's upside down, hanging upside down on the ring post, and Bryan Danielson is literally just getting him with a bunch of kicks, and then finally does like a sliding baseball slide right into Bandido. That was really cool. Finally, we come back from this, and we just get so much more, guys. We get Bryan gets him in the surfboard. We see an exchange of chops between them. We see a tornillo from Bandido. We see Bandido do the the same vertical suplex spot that he did with Chris Jericho, but with Bryan Danielson. And for a moment there, it kind of seemed like he wasn't going to get it and like he was struggling a bit. But then Bryan Danielson ended up getting like in the perfect upright position, so it looked really freaking cool. Frog splash from Bryan. What else did we get here? There was so when he hit the frog splash, he ended up getting his knees up, and so this essentially allowed the transition into the label lock. So that was kind of cool to see how that just like shifted and went so very fast. After this, I'm thinking it was during this point where he had him in the label lock that I thought the match was over. I thought it was going to be done. Because there's been times where I've really been enjoying a match and then it'll just end. And I'm like, oh man, it could have gone a little bit longer, but they didn't do that with this one. Like they made sure to actually let it breathe a little bit. But Bandido did get ended up getting his leg on the actual rope instead of his arm, because Bryan Danielson was really working that arm of Bandido to the point where I was kind of like cringing seeing that and seeing how it looked. It looked really good. Afterwards, finally, we see Bryan do a jumping knee to Bandido. We see Bandido do the 21 plex, goes for the pin, gets a near fall. We see another slap exchange. And then finally, we do end up seeing Bryan get the label lock. Bandido lifts him up. Danielson pushes him off, and we get a knee from Bryan, and he finally defeats Bandido. This was art, guys. I don't know how else to say this. They played like all different levels here, and this was good freaking stuff. Like, that's all I can say. I have no better recap than that, other than if you didn't watch this match, please go out of your way to watch it. This was good stuff, and they did a lot here. They got very creative, and that was probably my favorite thing about it, was some of the creative moments that we saw, and you can tell that they were having a good time wrestling each other. So that was really nice. Thumbs up, man. And it just makes me so happy because every single time Bandido goes out there, like, he freaking delivers, man. He delivers. Like, that match that he had with Chris Jericho was so good. He got himself signed with the company, okay? So that's really good stuff. But we do find out that Brian Cage will be the next opponent for Bryan Danielson. That is going to be taking place next week on Dynamite. Heidi Ho sends in a super chat saying, I didn't know anything about Bandido. I could watch him wrestle every week. He may be my favorite luchador. Honestly, yeah, like, go back and like watch some of his stuff, guys. Like, I've been seeing him. Like, I remember when I started seeing him in like some of the indie stuff that I would go to. And man, I think it was Bandido and Flamita. And that was like, God, that was a while back, actually. It was at one of the WrestleMania weekend shows. And I remember seeing that and going like, freaking out that I even got to, like, it was crazy. But there's just been so many different moments where, and you know what's nuts to me too was I always wondered like why he wasn't picked up, like why he wasn't, in WWE, like way before. I always wondered, like, why isn't he here? Why isn't he there? And so now getting to kind of see, him get these opportunities, and now that he's officially signed with AEW, and I even like that he had options where WWE was also interested in him. That's pretty freaking cool, man. That's all I can say. But thank you so much to Heidi Ho as well for sending in the super chat. But everyone's saying the exact same thing. This was an absolute banger. Alexis P says it got a "This is awesome" chant for submission exchanges. Hell yeah. Like, that's definitely something to point out. Usually we get "This is awesome" stuff for, big, flashy spots, right? Chris sends in a super chat saying, from where AEW started getting through a pandemic to now giving us Bandido versus Danielson on free TV is amazing. What a ride it's been. And it is. There's been so many matches that, like, I can't believe happened on Dynamite that were free television. There's been some good ones, and this one's definitely up there with that. But thank you so much to Chris as well. Alexis P says, Bandido knows how to control the crowd even without a face. Actually, and here is so you can't even see it, so I might as well bring it up here. So this is my Bandido mask. I actually just got this mask in when I was at Triple Mania in October of last year. And so I ended up getting this mask. It was very, very cheap too, but if you guys only knew, the material is really, really great. But yeah, so this is just, obviously it's not like authentic, but it's pretty freaking awesome though. So this is my Bandido mask. I love it too. I love all the glitter and shiny and stuff. He has so many, and they sell them outside the venue. So there is just so many options of masks that you can get. That's also where I got the Black Taurus one. So yeah, just happy that I got to show off my Bandido mask for today, since my body was blocking it in the first place. But anyways, all right, and let's go ahead and see what else people what you guys are saying here in the chat here. Heidi Ho says, where can I get a Bandido mask? I'm sure you can look online. A lot of the masks that I've gotten them like online and stuff just by like searching. And then, but honestly, I mean, I know that not everybody's just going to go out and fly to Mexico or something. But honestly, if you ever do end up in Mexico, just go get yourself your mask there, because they are incredibly cheap. I got like 5 masks and some no, not 5 masks. No, actually, I got a couple of masks, some action figures, a couple of t-shirts, and I don't even think I spent $100. Honestly, I don't even think I spent $100. Juan Ortega says, put it on, girl. Oh, everyone's asking why I didn't put it on. My bad. All right. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. My head's a little big. Hold on. Hold the phone. This is sorry to the audio viewers. So this is the mask, and sorry, I don't know where the other strap went, but it's really nice, isn't it? Check it out. I didn't tie it right, but it's there. And honestly, like, I'm sure his is probably just a little bit, different, but I do like how even though it's covering your face, you don't actually feel like you can't breathe or anything. At least I don't, because you can still do the little flap and you can still get, some breathing room and whatnot. So it feels pretty good. Like, I don't feel like I would be too constricted. Granted, I ain't going to be wrestling, but if I were, I wouldn't feel too constricted wearing the actual mask. But Alexis P says, really brings out your eyes. Jeffrey K says, people are finding out how great the talent was on the Ring of Honor roster the past few years. No surprise to me at all. And so many other amazing guys we haven't seen much of yet. I mean, here's the thing. If Bandido and so many others can wrestle in mask, I can talk in a mask for at least a little bit. AU says, I hope this was your COVID mask. Actually, I did have some pretty cool COVID masks. That were also Lucha ones. So they had a bunch of Lucha COVID masks that you can wear. They even had a Psycho Clown one that had the actual tongue. So it was a COVID mask, but it also had the actual tongue sticking out, which was pretty cool. I got one for my husband, and he actually wore that thing to work. And I told him, like, how embarrassing. Your boss is like not going to take you seriously anymore. But there you go. All right, guys, let me go ahead and take this off and get into the next portion of the show. Alrighty. And now my face is all red. Okay. Last but not least, we got our main event, and that was Darby Allin versus Kushida for the AEW TNT Championship. Now, I do want to point out, because Bandido and Bryan Danielson was so good, here's the thing. Now, I love Darby Allin and I love Kushida too. I'm so happy for Kushida because, man, this was his AEW debut, but he spent so much time over on NXT, and he had some great matches, part of the black and gold version of NXT. But when NXT went to 2.0, he wasn't portrayed the same way. I mean, he was literally doing jacket time with Ike Manjiro, and it was very hokey and very silly, and you weren't being able to take him seriously. Like, the fans weren't able to take him seriously. And so unfortunately, like, there was just so much time that was kind of wasted there for him. But he did have a lot of great matches though during his time period with the black and gold, NXT and whatnot. But either way, so I'm so happy that he's here. But given that, Bandido and Bryan had match of the night, I kind of felt like, oh man, Darby and Kushida really gotta, do something different. They got to really, go out there and do whatever they can to really live up to the expectation of being the main event, because clearly, the main event just has to always be a little bit better. But I don't think that this was match of the night. But I will say this, though. I loved that they went out there and they worked a different kind of match with Kushida working the shoulder of Darby Allin, and seeing that play out through the entirety of this match, with them kind of going to different parts of the actual ring, and playing with different points on the ring and whatnot. To me, that really added to this one and made it feel a lot different. There was some really good camera work too during this. There was a moment where Darby went on the top rope, did like a leg drop off, but instead Kushida like literally catches him. And to me, that was really cool, because the camera work that we saw in this match really added to just making it feel different. This felt more like a revenge. It felt like Kushida really wanted to just break the arm of Darby Allin. It felt like he really wanted to just break his arm. And so to me, I really like how this match and the story played out throughout it all. And it stood out. It was different from what we saw earlier with Bandido and Bryan. It was different, and it stood out all on its own. So to me, that was definitely something that I did end up enjoying a whole lot. He got the hoverboard lock on Darby. That was another thing. There was so much that they did here. Eventually, we do see Darby Allin retain his championship, but this was a good moment, a good main event, and I love how Darby Allin was one of my favorites, TNT champions, and I really wasn't a fan of Wardlow's reign as TNT champion. We didn't get too much out of Scorpio Sky either, so I kind of feel like Darby is kind of, and Samoa Joe did great. Samoa Joe, for the short time period that he was TNT champion, I thought he did great too. But I really do think that right now Darby is starting to kind of, I don't know, just do a little bit. I'm liking his title defenses a whole lot, and I loved the ones that he had the first time around as TNT champion. And so I like the direction that we're going in with Darby and the cool matches that we're seeing him in, especially with competitors like Kushida. So great main event where we were at with all of that. Man, good stuff. Alrighty, everyone. So final comments, send them in. We got Juan Ortega who says we need a rematch. Kushida was robbed. And it did happen very too. Very, very quick victory there, man. And also there was a moment where they were trying to get Sting to throw in the towel for Darby. And that was something to pay attention to too, because if you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, Darby had that whole promo backstage where he kind of felt like nobody was on his side, and he felt like not even Sting was on his side, or that Sting believed in him. But then Sting kind of gave him this, this pep talk, and he wanted him to be angry so he can carry that, and that could be his motivating factor. And so I kind of tied that in with, that's interesting that they had that backstage segment, and then they had this moment where they teased the possibility, but Sting was like, nah, I'm not throwing the towel in for Darby. Are you kidding me? That's not going to happen. So this was all good stuff, and overall a nice pay-per-view. All right, guys, that is it for today's show. I seriously want to thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a like, leave a nice comment, share it on social media. If you tag me, I will make sure to retweet you. I'm always retweeting people that help promote this show and whatnot. And I am live here 3 times a week. I'm here on Tuesdays for NXT, Wednesdays for AEW Dynamite, and then Fridays for Smackdown and Rampage. Dynamite is my most popular show of the week, so please make sure to come and join. Until next time, guys, I appreciate you all so much. Have a lovely weekend. Oh my gosh. Have a lovely week, and I will see you guys back here on Friday. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night.